Welcome to Season 34, everyone, especially to our fellow solo players. As usual, we'll talk about the right and wrong things done in the game to help you improve your game and hopefully help you get more victories and stars. In case you are new to the channel, you might not know that I hate playing marksman heroes and try to avoid picking one as much as I can. Unfortunately for me, the rest of our teammates didn't want to pick any marksman hero, so we had to fill the gap. Anyway, enough with the chit-chat, let's go ahead and watch the game. When you're playing any hero, especially a marksman, be vocal so that your allies will know what your playstyle is. While I agree not everyone listens, especially when playing with random people, but communicating is better than not communicating. Letting your allies know whether they need to babysit you or not can, at times, help drive your team's rhythm. To our non-Filipino viewers, what I actually told Belleric is for him to roam around and try not to babysit us too much and roam to other places on the field. When you are playing as a roamer, try not to show up on the lane frequently. Utilize bushes whenever necessary. Showing up on the open will allow the opposing team to formulate ganks easily, since they would know that the rest of the teammates are far from the roamer. If I were Belleric, I would have just advanced and stayed in the bushes closer to enemy territory, to be able to harass and discourage the opposing gold laner from clearing minions, thus preventing them from gaining gold and experience efficiently and effectively. If Belleric did that, we would have had the opportunity to freeze the lane. Notice that Saber was headed to our direction. Seeing that, Cyclops should have gone to the gold lane in preparation for a counter gank. If Cyclops was there, it would have been easier for us to defeat Saber and Leslie. Since Belleric's HP was pretty low, I wasn't expecting him to fight. I also thought Valir was with them since he wasn't visible on the mid lane. Thankfully, Valir committed the same mistake as Cyclops and didn't aid his roamer. If he did, Belleric would have died for nothing. When you are playing as a marksman, positioning is very important regardless of where you are on the field. As you can see, I usually try to stay away from entry points to avoid getting ganked. In addition to that, analyze your allies' positions as well. Normally, I would back out a bit if I don't have allies nearby, but here, I was dangerously closer to the enemy territory, and that's because one of our allies was nearby. We were basically trying to lure out an enemy in order for Gushin to land a successful gank. Unfortunately, Gushin got impatient and stepped out of the bush, allowing the opposing team to gank him. Instead of going there, he should have just fallen back to our territory. After all of the enemy heroes were missing from the map for more than 10 seconds, that should have hinted Gushin that they were planning a gank. Don't be stingy. Use Hanabi's first skill as frequently as needed, especially when you are switching lanes. Not only does it boost her movement speed temporarily, it also protects her from most crowd control effects, which can sometimes save her from enemy ganks. Since the turtle was available and there was a brewing clash nearby, it would have been a good idea to join. However, Aegis, our battle spell, was in cooldown status, and we weren't sure if Yin's ultimate was available or not. Try not to force clashes in the early game if you are playing a fragile hero, especially if your key battle spells or skills are not available. Leslie joining the fight that early was a bad idea. If you are playing a late game hero, try not to join losing battles. Leslie just wasted precious time trying to help her teammates, instead of gaining more gold and experience. Her assistance didn't benefit her team anyway, so she could have just used that time to farm. I mean, look at the gold gap. It's not even 4 minutes yet, but Hanabi was already ahead by roughly 1,000 gold. If you are enjoying it so far, and would like us to continue uploading videos like this, please hit like, share this video, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. In my opinion, Corrosion Scythe is an excellent starting item for Hanabi. It has a reasonable cost, has decent damage, bonus movement speed, bonus attack speed, and a unique passive that strongly suits Hanabi's skill set and fighting style. Some players, on the other hand, prefer Sky Piercer as a starting item. However, I think that's a bad idea. In my opinion, Sky Piercer suits heroes with high burst damage such as Leslie, unlike Hanabi, who is more of a continuous damage marksman. Like we talked about earlier, knowing all of the heroes' positions on the field and getting into a good position is very important. Here, we were confident in pressuring the bottom lane because Valier and Xborg were both busy in their respective lanes, while Saber and Leslie were both hugging their turret. That meant the only other hero who would likely attempt an attack against Hanabi was Yin. Look at our position though. Our jungler and roamer were both near the entry points, while we kept Hanabi closer to the bush opposite or away from the entry point. Because of that, Yin had a very hard time attempting a kill, giving us the opportunity to bully Saber and Leslie with minimal issues. I don't usually buy Wind of Nature this early into the game, but they had Yin. Without Wind of Nature, it will be much easier for Yin to snatch and take Hanabi down. When you are choosing the items you will use in the game, always consider not just what your hero needs to deal damage, but also to survive. Always choose your items based on the situation and the enemy team's lineup. This was the emblem and talents we used in the game. I usually prefer Hanabi with very high attack speed and decent damage, hence I chose the Marksman emblem, Swift, and Weapon Master. In my opinion, since Hanabi does not have any blink or dash skills, Quantum Charge is always a must-have. Depending on your playstyle, the following emblems and talents are also viable. As for the battle spell, I strongly believe you should always choose Aegis, thanks to Hanabi's passive ability acquired by learning her first skill. Whenever Hanabi has a shield, she is immune against most crowd control effects, making her a competitive marksman when it comes to dealing a flurry of continuous damage. As for her equipment, I strongly believe it's a necessity for her to have the non-crit Trinity, since her passive skill lets her bouncing petal blades to inherit a portion of attack effects, making it extremely easy for her to gain stacks and deal effect damage using her basic attacks whenever she is attacking 2 or more enemies. Depending on the situation and the enemy lineup, these items are very good as well, since they complement her fighting style and skill set. I don't mean to state the obvious, but a lot of players tend to forget this, especially if their team is winning. As much as possible, let your frontliners, especially your tank, lead the way. I know it sounds selfish, but that's how a marksman and other fragile heroes should be played. Use your allies for vision, let them check bushes for you, and observe the entry points in order for you to come up with a good position on the field. Let's use this clash as an example. Beleric did a great job of zoning Leslie and Valier, thus isolating Yin. Normally, it's not a good idea waiting for Yin to come out of his ultimate if you are playing a fragile hero, but in that situation, not only was Aegis available, we also had Wind of Nature, which meant Hanabi had tremendous advantage over Yin during that time.
Flourish!
Considering that Xborg was underperforming, buying Sea Halberd in this game was not really necessary. I could have purchased a different item such as Demon Hunter Sword or Golden Staff. If Xborg was performing good though, or if there were other heroes that specialized in regenerating tons of HP or specialized in shield effects, then yes, getting Sea Halberd sooner rather than later would be a good idea.
Move on. That's all you can do. Lusting. Say it! So soon. Gather at the Lord!
Remember, Hanabi's passive allows her to bounce petals around, so make good use of it. Even if the turret is outside of your range, attack their minions so that Hanabi's Petal Barrage can bounce to their turret and will hopefully be enough to destroy it. In general, Hanabi is an average hero. There's nothing remarkable about her. However, if you pick her with the right teammates or against enemies that have bad matchups against Hanabi, she can be very remarkable and will almost always guarantee a victory. Some heroes that are excellent allies when playing Hanabi are Lolita, Angela, and Diggy. While enemy heroes Hanabi can be good against, if Hanabi is played well, are Atlas, Saber, Eudora, Cyclops, PNK, and Brody.
I'm not fixated on winning. Not anymore. Killing spree!
That concludes our Mobile Legends content for today. Any other tips for Hanabi that's not covered in this video? Leave your thoughts on the comment section below. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Stay safe, everyone. Peace.